We try so many different things to speed up getting better at the guitar, learning it quickly. Today is the day we're going to take a step back. We're going to make some changes that actually matter. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome, friends, to episode 182 of the Play Guitar Podcast. I'm Lee, and this is the podcast that's determined to make you a better guitar player. No matter if you're just starting out, you've been playing for years. This is the show that will help you become the guitarist that you always wanted to be. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe and check out the description for all the links for the show and the episodes brought to you by Play Guitar Academy, where you learn the right skills at the right time in the right order to put guitar frustration in your past. We're going to be talking about a single thing that you can do that will put you on the fast track to getting better at the guitar. As I was telling some Academy members earlier today, this comes from teaching group guitar lessons and the overturn of teaching a class after class after class and making sure that everyone in the class is moving forward and getting everything. You start to recognize some trends, some things that pop out to you over time. And one of those was very interesting. We're going to be talking about this today. And it was this, it's the sole focus to this podcast. It's a very simple thing that you can do. And I'm going to explore it a little bit today. And we're going to talk about it right now. My guitar playing is not improving. And I'm definitely not ready to start playing out. Sound familiar? Hopefully, not hopefully, but we've all felt this one time. I remember that time before I joined my first band, that time where I was doing well enough where I thought I'm about ready to do it. But then I second guessed myself. I had this idea of what I thought being ready to play for an audience meant. That's going to be a big thing about this. Playing for an audience. I wanted to be able to play the most intricate songs perfectly without any mistakes. I wanted everything to be just right. And so I practiced and I continually told myself that I was not ready yet. I recognize this with my students as well. And the ones that I've seen who struggled were like me. They used the same thinking. They sold themselves short. I've also seen something else in some of my students that popped out at me and made a big impression on me. And that was the ones who were eager to try new experiences, or the ones who didn't worry about it so much, who were just out there jamming and trying to get into a performance situation. They learned quicker. They progressed faster at the guitar. So I thought, could this be it? Could this be how you learn fast? It wasn't a few of them here and a few of them there. It was pretty much down the line. The people who weren't interested in getting together and playing, they struggled with other people and playing for people. They struggled more, spent more time on things, took longer. And then the people who were ready to get out there and start playing, everything that we learned went quicker and quicker and quicker. So could our own thinking be the biggest thing that slows us down when we're learning to play guitar? So that's why I started to pay a little bit more attention to the differences between these two types of students. And I found some interesting results getting it all out here so we can talk about it today. Like I just said, the majority of our students who got into performing sooner were also the ones who learned faster. And once I figured this out, and I thought, well, okay, this, it makes sense. It makes sense. There's different things about that we'll go into for a second. But I said, this is an opportunity for me to make a big change in my teaching. And I got great results from it. I started to focus on positive thinking. Anyone who's been in the academy or been one of my coaching students knows this. positive thinking is a big part of my teaching with big results. And I also started to focus on creating something for the students. I was creating comfortable opportunities for performance. And it could be just for a student or someone to come up and jam with me with my band, or opportunities as a group for my students to perform. And once I went through this, everything changed. I then knew that by far the most effective way to speed up your guitar playing is to remove the negative thoughts that are holding you back when it comes to performing. So, there's a lot of problems when you first start learning guitar. It's easy to get overwhelmed with a lot of different things. You can get overwhelmed with the memorizing of everything, of the scale shapes, of the chord, the scale patterns, the chord shapes, all of those things. So you can get overwhelmed with the physical hurdles of not playing, your hands not in the right position, and it hurts and notes aren't coming out cleanly. And then you can get kind of down and overwhelmed by the cycle. There's pressure and then disappointment, pressure and disappointment. Then they seem to happen over and over again. This, I think, for a lot of people is where that trap gets set. I think that the getting stuck in the mud, trying to work on something and feeling that frustration. When you let these things get to you, your progress starts to get slower and slower. And at some point, you're stuck. Here's the thing. We're always going to experience these kind of problems. Always. But if you realize ahead of time that these problems that seem big, and we talked to David about this earlier, these problems that seem like mountains, they're really very tiny obstacles in the whole journey with the guitar. They're bumps in the road. And if you realize they're small, they don't feel small at the time, but it's something that's going to be in your past. You start to quickly speed up your progress. So I hear sure, right? That's easy to say, but how do I get past the worry? How do I get past the roadblock, getting stopped in my tracks? Well, this is the thing that we should center our thinking on, and that is playing music and performing music is not just for the very best. It's not reserved for the people who are 100% at the top of their game. There is performance and there is playing of music that is for players of all levels. All levels. Think about it. Have you ever gone to a concert, or you ever seen like a band play or a solo performer play, and you just thought, how do I put this politely, you just thought that they weren't very skilled. But you looked around and a lot of people were really enjoying those performers. They weren't for you. It wasn't all that, but everyone else seems to be liking them. Have you ever felt that? I have a lot of times. I know you have. We all have. So I have a question for you. Because that, in your opinion, that they weren't the greatest, should those players not play for people? Do those players, do they not have anything to offer an audience to you? Well, of course, they definitely have something important to share. They were sharing they were getting through to that audience where they may not have been getting through to you. And you have something to share as well, as someone who's been playing for 3 or 4 months, as someone who's been playing for a few years, as someone who's been playing for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You have something important to share. And so by changing your thinking from, I'm not ready yet, changing that to, I need to find a way to play for others that's appropriate for me, appropriate for my skill level. So here I am. How can I perform now? How can I take these things that I'm learning and share them? When you do that, you start to open yourself up for success on many different levels. We're focusing on the speed of it, what it does to your thinking and your being able to get new ideas and work on new things. But it opens for a lot of good things. Instead of frustration, instead of negative thinking, you move into the sweet spot. Understanding that you don't have to be perfect to get in on the fun. Have you ever played a game and you know you're not good at it, but you just love playing it, right? By understanding that you don't have to be perfect to have a great time doing this. And then the fact that where you're at, you have something very special to share. Something happens. Excitement. So now you have a vehicle for learning that pulls you instead of you pushing and straining. You're being pulled, and you don't have to get out and push in practicing and getting better at the guitar anymore. So instead of wondering what it'd be like to play for your guitar for others when you're ready someday, when you switch to what can I do now? Say I just played for a few friends. What can I do next time to make it even better? Good. It gives you a reason to practice. You now have focus, which are two very, very powerful things. You stop noodling, you stop experimenting, you put the blinders on to what doesn't matter, and you get to the real work, which is becoming a better performing guitarist because it's right in front of you. So my students who were getting together with other musicians, calling somebody up, hey, let's jam, let's do an open mic, one of those things. They could see firsthand how what we were working on, the basic skills, they were going to help them get better with what they were doing. And that creates the best incentive to learn guitar. So once you realize that learning guitar isn't all or nothing, right? So once you realize that you have something to say right now where you are with the guitar, guess what happened? You're started already. You're on that journey already. All parts of this journey are important. With the way you sound, the things you play as a new guitar player will be different than as an intermediate and as an advanced guitar player. And they're all valid. All parts of your journey are important, and they should be shared, not just for others, but for you as well. So what can you do? You can make a part of your daily practice routine, and you can make that dedicated to repertoire, dedicated to that bag of songs that you carry around that you could play at any moment. Take the songs that are at your level, that you're comfortable with, and we've been talking a lot about set lists lately. Put them into, say, 10-song set lists and put them to work. Call some friends up that also play guitar or play bass or whatever, and send them like a Spotify playlist of the songs that you know, and say, hey, you want to get together and jam these songs or not? Once you've done this a few times, then what can you do? Well, the next baby step is you ask them, some other friends who don't play, just to come over and listen. Say, hey, we've been working on some stuff. Check it out. That's the best kind of performance right there. That's the low pressure performance. It could be family members just home listening, it's still performance, the lowest pressure kind. Then what can you do after that? Take it to the next level. See if there's like a party to play or an open mic to sign up for. Each step of the way, The important thing is to make note of what skills you need to move up to the next level. And then that's what you should be devoting special attention to. And that's where the speed of learning starts to take off. When you take this approach of adding small performances to your practicing, you're not just performing, you're letting people in and being comfortable. Sharing your growth as a musician is healthy, and it's very special for others, more special than you realize. Those people who you choose to share your music with. So that's, it's a short thing. There's not tons to go into. This is really a pep talk because I know it's good for you. That I know that once you get into this, and your first time, it may not work out great. That's okay. Find someone else to jam with. Find another situation. There's just millions of them. And especially now that things are starting to open up, people are starting to feel more comfortable with this. I think it's a very, very good time for. My first thought is Academy members, but for podcast listeners, everyone, start thinking about this. Start thinking, okay, this is the window's opening for opportunity, and if you feel comfortable, start thinking, okay, let's see if I find a situation that works out pretty good. So what we went over is speeding up the progress has less to do with scales, chords, and exercise, more to do with becoming an early on performer, and just realizing that performing music is not just for the very best. It's for all of us at every level. Could you imagine your favorite guitar player hearing what they? I would love to do that. I would love to hear some of my favorite guitar players hear what they sounded like when they were first learning, and very curious about what in their playing, built the player that I like so much, and how did they sound after they've been playing for 5 years and 10 years, and seeing that progression, how important that is. And it's the same thing for you, and people would like to hear that progression from you as well. But making sure that it's for you at every level, it puts you in a state of faster achievement, which I found through my group coaching, and it brings reason and focus in your path, and being wise with your time, adding repertoire into your practice, and planning small, comfortable jam sessions is going to speed up your progress on the guitar. Okay. All right. So that's what I propose for you all today. It's simple and powerful. I'm going to go here and check out everyone who's in the chat. Let's see here. Evan's here. Hi, Evan. How are you doing? Jim's here. Hey, Jim. Good to see you. Jason is here. Great to see you, Jason. David says, long time no see. We saw David earlier. Hey, man. Evan's here. Got to see Evan a few times. And Dean. And Nathaniel. Hey, man. How you doing? Great to see you. Craig's here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm guessing you're over there near Jim as well. Coke's here. Hi, Coke. How you doing? Let's see here. What did Coke say? Coke said, been playing with guys that have been playing with each other and other musicians in various bands for longer. I've been alive. It's been a hell of a learning experience in a very short time. It's sure. Yeah, it's good. It's good for you. And he says, 10-song set list is my current demon. Well, don't sweat over it. A 5-song set list will get you pointed in the right direction here. Kevin's here, but on Facebook. But hey, we can see the chats there. So good to see you, Kevin. And I've pretty much put every chat that's been here so far up there. So I posed this question earlier to the Academy members on our daily. We have a daily live stream in the Academy, Monday through Friday, every afternoon, around like 2:30, 2:20, 2:30, something like that every day. And we were talking today about, well, what's your plans? You know, what are you thinking about? What would you like to be your next step towards using the guitar to share some music with? And go ahead and put that into the chat if you would like to share that. I'll talk about mine. So I've been doing a lot with very, very tight schedule here with everything that's been going on, but I do have I'm in a new area with a lot of opportunities to play, and that is very much in my plans. So I'm always thinking, well, what's the next thing? You know, if I come across a song, maybe like a cover song that I would think would work, I kind of put it aside. You know, I write it on a notepad or something like that, and it helps. It helps spur you along. And I'm thinking, well, if this is like one of these, I really like a lot of different open tuned blues stuff. And some of those tunes, I've played in all of them, but some of them I know better than others. And sometimes I'll start spending some time going through those because I know I want to use those in my performing coming up. Evan says he's got a set list, but writing, and recording. Cool. That's a great way to move forward. Okay, well, that's what I've got for this week. I've got a good bit of let's see. I've got coaching later on Friday. Got some other things that I'm working on this week, and just happy to hang out with you guys again today. Here's Jason. Jason says, I'm putting together a small recording rig. Good. Mics and whatnot. Waiting on my interface. Writing hacky songs just to get the ball rolling. Yeah, you got to go through those. Got to go through a bunch of them. I still go through them. But that's great. That's great. We are going to be, there's a series coming up with a company that you're all familiar with, and they're partnering with me on a 6-part series, 6-week series in the podcast that you'll be seeing fairly soon in a few weeks. I'm thinking, and one of they're partnering with me. We're circling everything around kind of a practice station using their product, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And it also is can be an audio recording interface as well, which I'll be demonstrating too. So we've got some of that coming up there soon. Let's see here. David says, may start putting some monthly riffs on Facebook. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great resource, especially when you don't have an opportunity to. He says, I don't really share my playing online other than a Facebook group. Yeah, man, I would share it. Document it. Think of it that way. It's documenting where you are now, and you can go back and hang out there and check it out. Chris is here. Hi, Chris. How are you doing today? Chris is working on phrasing and using space better intentionally. Yeah, that's the guitar problem, isn't it? We don't have to take a breath when we're playing. Coke says, I have a current goal to learn all this band's songs, but they don't seem to have cemented guitar parts. That's always a problem. And so a lot of that's creation for me. I have to make it up entirely. Well, that's a good challenge, though. Good challenge to have. Well, I'm going to call it in a few minutes. If anyone has any questions for me or wants to share anything else, go ahead and start putting everything into the chat before we take off today. I hope you have. Some of you, it's the morning. I know for Chris, it's a lot later than that. Oh, yeah, there we go. Can you hear that? It's the late afternoon thunderstorms. Happens every day. And some of you are just, on my time too. And Wonderful to hang out with you guys today and girls. I see there's a lot of folks who are watching who may not be in the chat, but thanks to Coke and Chris, Jason and Evan, and Kevin over on Facebook. Craig, great to see you, Craig. Nathaniel, is that Nat or Nathaniel? And Dean, both Evans. Jason, did I say Jason already? I don't know. Thank you, Jason. And Jim and David. Of course, we got a few comments came in here right at the end. Let's see here. Oh, Coke said it's stressful but exciting. Yeah, it is. And, take some time. Everything doesn't have to be the final product at first, and you'll come up with it. Boom. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go in a second and unplug all this stuff. The last thing I need is to lose a hard drive over that, though. How do you go about that stuff when you join a band league? Are you talking about adding your own parts in, or are you talking about dealing with new players when there isn't a part? I've been in situations where I've been in with E.G., she'd been playing a long time before I came into the band. So there was a lot of different guitar players. And she had albums. So there was the recorded album part. And, goodness, it's gone. There's a recorded album part. So sometimes I would use that, but sometimes I had an idea that may have worked. What I like to do, I like to do this for everything, not just in a band, but say I'm playing something new. It could be a riff. It could be a lead. It could be the way I'm playing the chords, chord voicings or something like that. The first few times I play it, I like to pay attention to the audience or the other people in the band and see if it, see what the reaction is. Try a few things and pay attention. Maybe try it again and see, if you're getting a negative reaction or just not being paid attention to, or smiles, And at some point you can read the situation where, okay, yeah, when I did that, I got a little smile from somebody. So that kind of works. Try that again. That always works. That always works. Just experiment a little bit and let everyone kind of come to a consensus about what works. So with E.G.'s band, I got to play lead guitar all over the place because I knew how to not get in the way of her vocals. So that was really important. But in other bands I've been into, I was only playing I was only playing lead guitar during the solo section and just playing rhythm other times too. So it's definitely it's definitely different for every situation, and it's something that if you pay attention to reactions of everyone else, I'm going to call it right now. Anyway, yep, thunderstorms like clockwork in Florida. Okay, everybody, I will see you all soon. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Hope you took something from this. We'll talk to you soon.